Alright, and we are on. Welcome, guys, ladies and gentlemen, to the Civil Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing today? If you guys can hear me okay, make sure you guys say C in the chat for civil. I mean, my mic is up, so I'm pretty sure you guys can hear me okay. But anyway. We got a lot to cover today, ladies and gentlemen. We got some obnoxious shit about the reflecting pool. I have some other stuff that I have in my Notion page, right here that I haven't seen. But first off, let's go over Iran.
Wait, you don't write anything down after conversations?
This is Pocket. I never go anywhere without it.
The US Vice President J.D. Vance has touched down in Switzerland for talks with Iranian officials on implementing the US-Iran interim peace deal. He said they would focus on issues including Lebanon and ending Iran's nuclear program. Iranian negotiators have already arrived in Switzerland. Tehran earlier said it had again closed the Strait of Hormuz in response to Israel's continued strikes on southern Lebanon. The US military denied this, saying the strait was open. On social media, President Trump said there will be no tolls in the Strait of Hormuz, either now or after the 60-day negotiation period set out for further peace talks ends.
The thing was, I keep on hearing that there is tolls. That's the thing.
He also suggests the US could impose its own tolls if a broader deal is not reached between the US and Iran during the negotiation period. Our World News correspondent Joe Inwood reports.
The thing that I'm really sick and tired of during this presidency so far is this stupid fucking war, dude.
Is Lebanon in the middle of a ceasefire? Clearly.
And do I think this war was unnecessary? Yeah, it was.
It has not held.
And it is.
The latest village to feel the consequences of that failure was Kanarit. Local authorities say an Israeli airstrike killed 7 people. Qasim shows what he says is a section of the missile that killed his family.
It was my in-laws' house, my wife's 2 brothers, my mother-in-law and her son. There were also 2 babies. One was just 1 month old, the other is 2 months old.
Israel says it was responding to attacks from Hezbollah. The Iranian-backed group say that is a lie. Whatever the truth, Iran's response to the continued fighting was to once again close the Strait of Hormuz, the vital waterway that had only just reopened. Although the US has denied that it's closed, the peace process is clearly in trouble.
The commitments are very clear: an end to the war on all fronts, including in Lebanon. We have honoured our commitments, they have failed. This constitutes a clear violation of the ceasefire memorandum.
That will be the main point this high-level Iranian delegation will want to raise as they arrive in Geneva for talks. Representing the US will be the Vice President, who has recently been critical of Israel's attacks on Lebanon and knows they could jeopardize a deal.
The big problem is that you have somebody will shoot and then somebody will respond, and you kind of have a chicken and egg problem where you just got to stop the scene for long enough to get the ceasefire.
I can't hear jack shit.
The problem is that you have somebody will shoot and then somebody will respond, and you kind of have a chicken and egg.
I can't hear, dude. I gotta find this. Anyway. I think we heard enough from that. But anyway, let's take a look at the Iran war Wikipedia. Let's take a look. We're gonna learn more about the Iran war today. All right. I think let's take a look at the timeline. The war has been referred to by other names. The initial strikes on Iran were codenamed Operation Epic Fury by the United States government. So that's what the strikes were. Operation Epic Fury. I think it's what these ones were, what they were talking about. Right here. I gotta change my thumbnail real quick. Hold up. I kind of want to change the thumbnail on the stream. Real quick. Hold on. I can do this through here. I think. I hope I can do it while it's still live. But I hope we can. Edit. Okay, we got it. Here we go. Check that out. Boom. I hope you like that new thumbnail. It's also the intro to the Clips channel, too. So that way we can get more people on here. Anyway. The referred to has also been referred to by some outlets as the Third Gulf War. Now, I was going to say what they were going to be referring to. Real quick, I just want to show you. Check that out. Boom. Boom. Check that out. Check that out. All right. So Gulf War III. Following the Gulf War from 1990 to 1991, and the Iraq War from 2003 to 2011, which has also been referred to as the Second Gulf War, Gulf War II. And now we are in Gulf War III. Anyway, we're gonna look further. Into this. I'm actually really interested in reading in on this more on stream, and we'll get to the debates that we're gonna watch later. We're gonna get to the other stuff, but we're gonna spend like a couple hours on this. Usually I say we're gonna be here till 8, but I'm on here longer. I'm on here for longer than that. Was it 9? Yep, 6 to 8. I was off by an hour, but anyway. Might be 6 o'clock for some of you. sure. Hold on, guys. I need to make some adjustments. I'm sorry. Just gotta make sure this works. Hope you guys can see that okay. Can they see that okay? I just want to make sure. But that would be cool. Alright, let's read more into this war. Now that we know that works. Iran suspended its Ahmad project pursuant to Ali Khamenei's fatwa against nuclear weapons in 2003. Let's take a look at this Ahmed project.
Who is the grand architect of Iran's nuclear ambitions?
Head of Project Ahmad put it. Remember that name, Fakhrizadeh.
Only one picture has ever been found of Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, the man who has been called Iran's Robert Oppenheimer and the father of their nuclear weapons program. He is considered by the International Atomic Energy Agency to be one of the most dangerous rogue scientists on the world stage.
When you showed the world in Farsi how close Iran was to a bomb and their planning on how to get there in specific words, it portrayed the Iranians as first a country that actually is so zealous to have a bomb, and second, that lied to the world.
Israel says Fakhrizadeh heads Project Ahmad, Iran's secret nuclear warhead project. His name first appeared in the media in 2007 in United Nations Security Council Resolution 1747, listed as a person involved in nuclear or ballistic missile activities. The UN identified him as a former lecturer and head of the Physics Research Center at the Imam Hussein University in Tehran. This university is no normal school, though. It's operated by Iran's Revolutionary Guard as a training, recruitment, and weapons development center. Its members are prohibited from traveling abroad or entering the private market. They are groomed to be loyal apparatuses of the Iranian regime. The Security Council resolution singled him out as a person to be targeted with travel restrictions and financial asset freezes. The IAEA wanted to question Fakhrizadeh about his time as the head of the Physics Research Center, but Iran refused. In 2013, he surfaced again, this time in North Korea, where he allegedly observed one of their nuclear weapons tests that year. Anonymous intelligence sources told Britain's Sunday Times that the purpose of Fakhrizadeh's trip was to develop warheads small enough to fit on Iran's missiles. Now he's emerged from the cloud of secrecy in a trove of documents obtained by the Mossad. 55,000 documents and just as many files on hundreds of CDs. All original materials from Iran's weapons program. His name, his face, and a warning by the Israeli government. Iran lied, and Fakhrizadeh could still be building the bomb. Ariel Evan Waldman, I-24 News.
Oh my god, Israel might be possibly taking advantage of that stuff. Oh my god.
On the border of Cameroon and Nigeria, this village is threatened.
Oh my fucking god. Let's look more into this Ahmad project.
Community in its secret atomic archive. We're going to show you Iran's secret nuclear files. You may well know that Iran's
I fear that they're possibly going to be taking advantage of this.
leaders repeatedly deny ever pursuing nuclear weapons. You can listen to Iran's Supreme Leader, Ali Khamenei.
I stress that the Islamic Republic has never been after nuclear weapons.
You can listen to Iran's President, Hassan Rouhani.
Nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction have no place in Iran's security and defense doctrine and contradict our fundamental religious and ethical convictions.
This is repeated by Iran's Foreign Minister, Javad Zarif.
We didn't have any program to develop nuclear weapons. Anyway, we consider nuclear weapons both irrational as well as immoral.
Well, tonight I'm here to tell you one thing. Iran lied. Big time. After signing the nuclear deal in 2015, Iran intensified its efforts to hide its secret nuclear files. In 2017, Iran moved its nuclear weapons files to a highly secret location in Tehran. This is the Shorabad district in southern Tehran. This is where they kept the atomic archive, right here. Few Iranians knew where it was, very few, and also a few Israelis. Now, from the outside, this was an innocent-looking compound. It looks like a dilapidated warehouse. But from the inside, it contained Iran's secret atomic archives locked in massive files. Actually, they're a little bigger than this, okay? A few weeks ago, in a great intelligence achievement, Israel obtained half a ton of the material inside these vaults. And here's what we got. 55,000 pages. Another 55,000 files on 183 CDs. Everything you're about to see is an exact copy of the original Iranian material. You may want to know where are the originals. Well, I can say they're now in a very safe place.
Jeez.
Here's what the files included. Incriminating documents, incriminating charts, incriminating presentations,
Oh, so Iran's full of
incriminating
shit.
blueprints, incriminating photos, incriminating videos,
Oh,
and more.
shit.
We've shared this material with the United States, and the United States can vouch for its authenticity. We will also share it with other countries, and we'll share it with the International Atomic Energy Agency.
I know this was previously. This was from 8 years
So let me
ago.
tell you the
I
history of
looked
this
at
material.
Research. Guys,
We've known for years that Iran had a secret nuclear weapons program called Project Ahmad. We can now prove
we're trying to learn
that
more
Project
about
Ahmad
Project Ahmad.
was a comprehensive program to design, build, and test nuclear weapons. We can also prove that Iran is secretly storing Project Ahmad material to use at a time of its choice to develop nuclear weapons. Here's what Project Ahmad's explicit goal was: creating nuclear weapons. This is an original Iranian presentation from these files. And here's the mission statement: design, produce, and test 5 warheads, each with 10 kiloton TNT yield, for integration on a missile. You don't have to read Farsi to see 10 kilotons here, TNT. This is the specific goal of Project Ahmad. That's like 5 Hiroshima bombs to be put on ballistic missiles. This is an original Iranian spreadsheet from the archives of Project Ahmad. Look at what it has here: yellow cake production, centrifuge enrichment process, warhead project, simulation project, and test. And indeed,
yellow cake.
when we analyze
Yellow cake is formerly known as a uranium ore concentrate. Is critical intermediate step in the production of nuclear fuel. So that's where they're getting the nuclear from.
What's in these archives, we found that Project Ahmad had all the 5 elements, the 5 key elements of a nuclear weapons program. I want to take them one by one. First element is designing nuclear weapons. This is an original Iranian illustration of a weapon. Again, you don't have to read Farsi.
That looks like a target.
To understand this. This is U-235, that's enriched uranium.
U-235. Ah, okay. So it's a certain chemical.
Right here at the core. That's the only place where you find in the core enriched uranium. And here's an Iranian simulation, original Iranian simulation, putting all these components together. That's the first component. Second component.
By the way, guys, if you want to support
developing nuclear
journalism, make sure you go support me on Patreon at patreon.com/TheCivilForum. And if you want to get your super chats read, go to botrixlive.k/TheCivilForum/tip. The links are right over there for you guys. Anyway, let's continue.
Here's a photo showing the casting process and a cast metal core from the archives. And here's the secret underground facility the Iranians were building to produce nuclear cores. We have hundreds of documents for each of these components. Third component, building nuclear implosion systems. This is an original Iranian photo of a measuring device for implosions. And here's a simulation of a nuclear implosion. Fourth element, preparing nuclear tests. Here's a map of 5 potential locations for a nuclear test in eastern Iran. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have many more such documents.
But it's just crashing on me.
And fifth, integrating nuclear weapons on missiles.
So if you guys want to follow me on Rumble and give
Here's
me
a
the 5
design for a
followers,
nuclear
that's right.
payload on a
You know,
Shahab 3
stream on
missile
Rumble,
from
that'd
the
be amazing.
archive. Here's the warhead. Here's the bomb. And I don't have to remind you, I think, that Iran is continually expanding the range of its ballistic missiles, its nuclear-capable missiles. They started with 1,000 kilometers. They're now up to 2,000, roughly. They can reach Riyadh, Tel Aviv, Moscow, but they're working on far, far greater ranges. They're planning much longer range missiles to carry nuclear weapons. So these files conclusively prove that Iran is brazenly lying when it says it never had a nuclear weapons program. The files prove that. But here's what happened next. Iran was faced with mounting pressure in 2003. You remember that. That was following the Gulf War. So it was forced to shelve Project Ahmad. But it didn't shelve its nuclear ambitions. So Iran devised a plan to do two things. First, to preserve the nuclear know-how from Project Ahmad. And second, to further develop its nuclear weapons-related capabilities.
Keep looking at this.
That plan came directly from Iran's top leadership. Here's another document from the archive. This is following the new directive of Iran's Minister of Defense, Mr. Shamkhani. Today is the director of the National Security Council. Following the new directive of Iran's Minister of Defense, the work would be split into two parts, covert and overt. A key part of the plan was to form new organizations to continue the work. This is how Dr. Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, head of Project Ahmad, put it. Remember that name, Fakhrizadeh. So here's his directive. It's right here. And he says, the general aim is to announce the closure of Project Ahmad, but then he adds, special activities, you know what that is, special activities will be carried out under the title of scientific know-how developments. And in fact, this is exactly what Iran proceeded to do. It continued this work in a series of organizations over the years. And today, in 2010, or 2018, this work is carried out by Sapand. That's an organization inside Iran's defense ministry. And you will not be surprised to hear that Sapand is led by the same person who led Project Ahmad, Dr. Fakhrizadeh, and also, not coincidentally, many of Sapand's key personnel worked under Fakhrizadeh on Project Ahmad. So this atomic archive clearly shows that Iran planned at the highest levels to continue work related to nuclear weapons under different guises and using the same personnel. I want to give you another example of Iran's nuclear weapons-related activities that continued after Project Ahmad. You all remember the Fordow facility? Can you show that? Fordow uranium enrichment facility. This was a
enrichment facility. That's not him. That's not bro. That's not bro. That's just a random doctor. Don't frame him.
Secret underground enrichment facility that the Iranians built under a mountain. You don't put thousands of centrifuges under a mountain to produce medical isotopes. You put them there for one reason: nuclear weapons. Enrichment for nuclear weapons. But the files show that Fordow was designed from the get-go for nuclear weapons as part of Project Ahmad. Here's an original Iranian blueprint of Fordow. And what happened was that Iran continued to build Fordow years, secretly build it, years after Project Ahmad ended. Here's what it looks like. That's the entrance. It goes under a mountain. You also will not be surprised that Iran insisted on keeping Fordo. Wow. And amazingly, the nuclear deal enabled it to do it. It enabled it to do it, but this came with a hitch. Iran was required by the IAEA to come clean, by the nuclear deal, to come clean to the International Atomic Energy Agency about its nuclear program. This was an explicit condition for implementing the nuclear deal. Iran has to come clean. So in December 2015, the IAEA published its final assessment of what it called the military aspects of Iran's nuclear program. This is the report. This was Iran's chance to fully come clean to the IAEA. They could tell the truth. They could say, we had this program, this secret program. It's over. We shelved it. It doesn't exist. We destroyed the material.
Okay, I see what's going on now.
Here's what Iran actually told the IAEA. It said, Iran denied the existence of a coordinated program aimed at the development of a nuclear explosive device and specifically denied, get this, specifically denied the existence of the Ahmad plan. The material proves otherwise, that Iran authorized, initiated, and funded Project Ahmad, a coordinated program aimed at the development of a nuclear explosive device. Here's another document from the archive. This is a master plan of Project Ahmad. Iran said to the IAEA, no work has been conducted with multi-point initiation. This is multi-point initiation. You got to forgive me. This jargon, this scientific terminology is something that is necessary to understand the production of nuclear weapons. But here's what they say. No work has been conducted with MPI technology in hemispherical geometry. But again, the archive shows that this is a complete fabrication. Iran conducted extensive work with MPI technology in hemispherical geometry. Here's an example. Hundreds of more documents prove it. Iran said to the agency that it had not conducted metallurgical work specifically designed for a nuclear device. But the files again show that this is a lie. Iran conducted extensive metallurgical work specifically designed for a nuclear device. Here's an original Iranian photo, plenty more in the archive. So what I've shown you tonight is just a fraction of the total material that we have. But even from this sample, you can draw 4 main conclusions. First, Iran lied about never having a nuclear weapons program. 100,000 secret files prove that they lied. Second, even after the deal, Iran continued to preserve and expand its nuclear weapons know-how for future use. Why would a terrorist regime hide and meticulously catalog its secret nuclear files if not to use them at a later date? Third, Iran lied again in 2015 when it didn't come clean to the IAEA as required by the nuclear deal. And finally, the Iran deal, the nuclear deal, is based on lies. It's based on Iranian lies and Iranian deception. 100,000 files right here prove that they lied. So here's the bottom line. Iran continues to lie. Just last week, Zarif said this.
We never wanted to produce a bomb.
Again?
We never wanted to produce a bomb.
Oh, really? You never wanted to produce a bomb?
Yes, you did. Yes, you do. And the Atomic Archive proves it. The nuclear deal gives Iran a clear path to an atomic arsenal. It does so because it gives them the 3 components that are necessary to produce this arsenal. First, unlimited enrichment in a few years. And they plan to do that. They plan to have several hundred thousand advanced centrifuges with which they can enrich mountains of uranium for that core that I showed you before, for many, many such cores. Second, it completely fails to address Iran's continuing development of ballistic missiles. And third, and this is new, it completely fails to address Iran's secret nuclear bomb program and its advanced work on weaponization. We just did. So this is a terrible deal. It should never have been concluded. And in a few days' time, President Trump will make his decision on what to do with the nuclear deal. I'm sure he'll do the right thing. The right thing for the United States, the right thing for Israel, and the right thing for the peace of the world. הערב אנחנו חשפנו הישג מודיעיני מהחשובים שידעה מדינת ישראל. חשפנו את הארכיון הסודי של הגרעין האיראני. החומר הזה נמצא בידינו מזה מספר שבועות. הוא חושף לראשונה למעלה מ100,000 מסמכים סודיים.
Stand what he's saying for the rest of this shit, so we'll just skip it. Anyway, we'll take a look at some more. This is the same thing. Same thing as well. All right.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels in international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our citizens hostage. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror, and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again. They can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore. Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might of the United States Armed Forces. I built and rebuilt our military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran. We ask God to protect all of our heroes in harm's way, and we trust that, with his help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or, in the alternative, face certain death. So, lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death. Finally, to the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. Many years you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. Many years you have asked for. You have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force.
Ooh, okay, this might be disturbing for Twitch. Okay. Damn. Ooh. Rep. Ilhan Omar's latest financial disclosure shows a latest dramatic change from the filing she submitted just 1 year ago. In a report covering 2024, the Minnesota Democrat disclosed that she and her husband controlled between $6 million and $30 million in assets. Her brother, aka in a newly filed 2025 disclosure, that figure dropped between $20,000 and $150,000. So the ooh shit. Damn. Her husband's venture capital advisory firm, which had previously valued at between $5 million and $25 million, is now listed with no value in the latest filing. The filing suggests Omar could possibly have a negative net worth, with her husband, her brother, reporting between potentially having a negative net worth, with her husband reporting between $15,000 and $50,000 in credit card debt. Oh, they broke! They broke! They broke! They broke! Ilhan Omar's broke. Let's look more into this, guys. We gotta see this. They broke! 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 I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had to. I had to. Anyway. Check this out.
All right, Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is facing the heat again for her latest reported filings on her income. And this time, it's a lot lower than previous listings, revealing that her family was worth millions. Doug Lazater is live in Washington with all the details on this twisty-turny story. Hi, Doug.
Yeah, Carly, good morning. This is tough to keep up with. One controversy after another for Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar after all of these issues surrounding her reported wealth. And this has all been chronicled in the New York Post. Omar's husband, Tim Minette, once listed his net worth to be up to $30 million in 2024. And that caused a push for an investigation into the business holdings of the couple. But that ended up being a clerical mistake, according to the Congresswoman. Instead, a new filing has listed her assets between $20 and $125,000. Big difference. Minette's net worth is the most staggering part of this, though, with a reported income between $200 and $1,000. And despite that low income, Minette's company, Rose Lake Capital, reported income between $100,000 to $1 million.
All right, Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar.
when is she gonna be out of office, you guys? When? Just when? All right, guys. We'll be right back with the more civil form right after this break.
Wait, you don't write anything down after conversations?
This is Pocket. I never go anywhere without it.
Iran, fraud, there have been assassination plots, but the liberal media is focused on something else entirely. They're very concerned about algae in the reflecting pool in Washington, D.C. You know, the one that no one actually goes in, no one swims in it, no one drinks from it, yet there are seasoned journalists absolutely obsessing.
Park Service workers were seen dumping gallons of hydrogen peroxide in the pool, raising questions about the ducks that live in that water.
We're going to scoop up a water sample to see if we can get this tested.
CNN independently took the sample of water and consulted with a pool store.
Joining me is New York Times investigative reporter David Farenthold, who's been breaking stories on the reflecting pool. It's the price of having sort of sycophants around you.
The Iran war was the big example of that, right? I think we saw that writ large, but the reflecting pool is that in miniature.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm muted. You guys should have heard my reaction. But let's see it again.
Something else entirely. They are very concerned about algae in the reflecting pool in Washington, D.C. You know, the one that no one actually goes in, no one swims in it, no one drinks from it, yet there are seasoned journalists absolutely obsessing.
Park Service workers were seen dumping gallons of hydrogen peroxide in the pool, raising questions about the ducks that live in that water.
We're going to scoop up a water.
No one swims there. Not even ducks swim there.
Water sample to see if we can get this tested.
I don't see any ducks. Where are the ducks?
CNN.
Oh, they do. Okay.
CNN independently took the sample of water and consulted with a pool store.
Joining me is New York Times investigative reporter David Farenthold, who's been breaking stories on the reflecting pool. It's the price of having sort of sycophants around you.
The Iran war was the big example of that, right? I think we saw that writ large, but the reflecting pool is that in miniature.
I spent all day thinking about this, looking at these pictures.
This reflecting pool is falling apart before our eyes.
You literally heard one reporter there say.
Let's see what Grok says. Is there ducks swimming in the reflecting pool? Let's just take a look. Okay, yep.
Say this is Iran in miniature. The reflecting pool, Iran in miniature. Okay, well.
But what the fuck does this have to do with Iran? That's the thing. What does a pool being dirty have to do with Iran? This is what the liberal media likes to do. They like to clump different stories together and just make it about one another and then just mix them up.
President Trump responding to that last part, saying, quote, Jonathan Karl was seen sticking his hand into the pool and trying to rip the rubber off the surface. The algae is 75% gone, and the condition will soon be completely remedied. Well, that hasn't stopped the New York Times from doing a deep dive into the contractor who was hired to purify the pool. But I'm curious, are they worried about algae at the Taj Mahal? Are they planning on testing the water quality of the reflecting pool at the 9/11 memorial? What about the Trevi Fountain in Italy? We look forward to seeing those reports. You know, what else we're looking forward to seeing? Well, deep investigations into things that actually matter. But we should not be.
What about, hear me out, there's another location in Italy. There's a bridge in Italy. What's that bridge called in Italy? What about here? What about here? Hold on. What about here, you guys? People would piss and shit in that thing.
Not be surprised, because this is par for the course for the media. Remember how they handled East Palestine, Ohio? You know, the town that Pete Buttigieg abandoned after a train crashed and contaminated the water there? Or what about the death of Irina Zarutska? She was visibly terrified moments after being stabbed on a train in North Carolina. Where was their extensive deep dive coverage into the city's soft on crime policies? And what about the Angel families who have lost loved ones to vicious criminal illegal aliens that the Biden administration let in? Are we to believe that loved ones to vicious criminal illegal aliens that the Biden administration let in? Are we to believe that their stories are less important than algae in a pool that no one swims in? Joining me now, host of the Ben Ferguson Show, Ben Ferguson. Ben, it's funny on one hand and it is deeply sad on the other. And I half expect CNN to have a floating set in the middle of the reflecting pool doing live.
I mean, ponds in my area are like dirty as shit. And yet ducks still swim in it and my city refuses to do anything about it.
Round the clock coverage, Ben. We both used to work there.
Yeah. Let's start with the funny. I love where CNN's like the most trusted name in news, like trust the experts. You're literally now saying we're going to go to a pool guy in a store making $15 an hour and he's the most important man in America and we brought him some water. Like the idea of,
hey guys, hey pool guy, we're with CNN.
And just the laziness of this, of all the reporting you could do in America to actually help people's lives. You're like, hey guys, we can go out of our doors here. We can walk over there and we can try to turn this into a political hit job on Donald Trump. Which, by the way, they even said the ducks, like, are the ducks going to die because they're using something in the pool that could hurt them? By the way, they use in my pool, in my backyard, the same chemicals that my family then swims in. They also have a waiting period and then you're going to be okay. They didn't say it was going to hurt my dog. They didn't say it was going to destroy my family. No one's dying here. But this goes back to how much they hate Donald Trump. They see an opportunity where Donald Trump tried to do something to make America look greater, to make our capital beautiful again. And what do? They go, this is it. We're going to nail him on this because something's wrong here with algae. Now, did they do any reporting on the Leering Center? No. Did they do any reporting, investigative reporting? Did they go undercover? Did they interview anyone that was defrauding the country in Minnesota or in California or homelessness issues or that train to nowhere that's costing billions in California? The answer is no, no, and no, because you know what? We got a real expert. We got a kid making $15 an hour at the pool store that we randomly picked. I guarantee you, by the way, Kaylee, mark my word, the pool store they went to was the closest one on their Google map to find their expert. Like, that's the part that's so good. It's like, closest one, we'll go to that guy. We don't know.
I wonder what the closest one was. I wonder where they went to. I'm just curious. Pool store, Washington, D.C. They probably went here. They probably went here. Is probably my guess. Hey, pool guy.
I don't know if he's any good.
You're our credible source.
Who cares if he's any good? We're going to nail Donald Trump somehow, but this is Trump derangement syndrome, and there are real stories they could do really good work on.
How much you want to bet that the pool store agreed to do this is a liberal or liberals? I would call them, but I don't think they'll give me that information because I used to work in customer service. We can't give that shit. We can't give out that information. So I know very well we can't do that.
They deliberately choose not to because all they care about is taking down Donald Trump.
Yeah, welcome to journalism in 2026. Nick Shirley sure found a lot with just a little camera and a low budget, but CNN's devoting everything to algae. I want to play this for you because Graham Plattner, we continue to be on this story. A new scandal emerges every day, but one that hasn't been focused on enough is him presenting himself as the working class candidate. Watch this.
Amy and I were very much just living a very small, normal life here in Sullivan. And I was running the oyster farm. I was exposed to oyster farming. Oyster farmer.
Mastering the skills to make a living on the sea and become an oyster farmer.
We very much are just pretty normal working class folks.
I mean, it's a great story, but he got a $200,000 loan from his father. He went to a I mean, it's a great story, but he got a $200,000 loan from his
Folks.
I mean, it's a great story, but he got a $200,000 loan from his father. He went to a $75,000 per year school. His grandfather had a luxury furniture business, but he is the great working class candidate.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't go out on a boat on the reflecting pool with this guy who claims he's mastered the seas based on what his resume actually is. Like you look at Graham, and I don't mind if you're wealthy. If you're wealthy and you started on third base, great. But don't lie and say you're the same as someone that started at the bottom. Don't lie and say you're an oyster farmer when your only client is one person, by the way, on a private island at a restaurant that's friends with your family. Don't.
Was Jeffrey Epstein? No, I'm just kidding. He only has one client.
Say you struggled when your dad gives you $200,000 for your house, right? Your family does. Like, that is insanity. But this is a guy that is a fraud. The Democratic Party said we need him to be likable. We need to make up a story because the story of him being a rich kid that gets $200K from his parents, who doesn't actually work hard, doesn't really know how to oyster farm, and only has one client that happens to be one restaurant, and then there's a private island involved. Like,
how much you want to bet that he has illegal immigrants do the oyster farming for him? I really do think he does that. I don't think he even does the farming. I think he has illegal immigrants do it. And then he turns them into ice.
that's not a good story to get elected. So they're like, all right, let's just like make up something. Like, he's a hardworking fisherman wearing these overalls that are waterproof. Like, that's who he is. No, he's not. He's corrupt. He's fraud. He's also a creeper. Let's be clear about that and all the corruption around him and all the stories. So this is, again, the Democratic Party, socialist, Marxist, communist, and we'll dress him up.
Oh, what I'd pay to see you floating on the reflecting pool with Graham Plattner and Ben Ferguson on a sunny Saturday afternoon.
We'll test some water.
We'll test some water together. We'll send it to CNN. They'll get it to the pool store. All right, Ben Ferguson, thank you so much.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube.
Oh, my God. I love the Fox News editors, dude. W to the editors, bro. I can't thank them enough for doing that. Oh, God. All right, we're looking. And there's another one I wanted to show you guys. This is really obnoxious.
Algae, let's go! Algae, let's go! Algae, let's go! Let's go, algae, let's go! Let's go, algae, let's go! Let's go, algae! God sent the algae! Don't play God! Don't play God! God sent the algae! God sent the algae! God sent the algae! Let's go! Algae, let's
These guys are so stupid. Let's look at this other one here. Check this out.
Algae smarter than MAGA! Algae smarter than MAGA! Algae smarter than MAGA! Algae smarter than MAGA! Algae smarter than MAGA!
You're so stupid and mentally ill. Alright, guys. This is so retarded and dumb. Algae's not. Oh, God. You guys aren't really that smart. You really do think that was a gotcha moment. moments like this that makes me happy I'm no longer liberal.
Do 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 do. Dr. Fauci, give us vaccines. Help all the people who have been quarantined. We'll wear our masks and we'll have to stay distant. We'll wash our hands and we'll be more resistant. Fauci, yes? Promise us, please. We'll have a cure that can fight off this disease. Restrictions will lift with some ease. Dr. Fauci, don't forget me.
Can we be honest? This guy sounds like a full-on Reddit moderator. He moderates the r/theater kids group. He moderates r/theater.
Thank you. Thank you.
The shoes. Yep, I'm mocking him. I don't care. Liberals are stupid.
Very much.
Thank you.
Do 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 do.
This guy's fucked retarded. It's just funny. Oh god. It's just funny. Alright. Now we'll move on to what we're really here for. Actually, no. Let's not. Let's move on to the Jordan Peterson version.
Wait, you don't write anything down after conversations?
This is Pocket. I never go anywhere without it.
But I think that you have a reductive view of what.
You're a Christian.
You say that. I haven't claimed that.
Oh, what is this? Is this Christians versus atheists?
Don't be a smartass.
Either you're a Christian or you're not. Which one is it?
You're really.
I fucking hate that dude already, dude. We're not even 5 minutes in.
Quite something you are.
Aren't I? But you're really quite nothing. Right? You're not a Christian.
Okay, I'm done with him. Hello there. I'm Dr. Jordan Peterson. I'm a clinical psychologist, a professor emeritus at the University of Toronto, an author, a podcaster, public speaker, and today I'm surrounded by 25 atheists. My first claim: atheists reject God, but they don't understand what they're rejecting.
Good afternoon, Dr. Peterson.
How you doing?
So this claim here that atheists don't know what they're rejecting. My background is in studying to become a traditional Catholic priest, daily mass, daily rosary, going on long retreats, deep into the magisterium and biblical hermeneutics, like I was thoroughly in it. And it seems like I do know what I'm missing. Is there something that I missed over years of study, both this issue formally and living out religion so deeply?
While you obviously feel that you missed something when you were practicing for the priesthood, your aim was off then. So there's always the possibility that it's still off now.
What was off about my aim in the first place?
I don't know. Might take a long time to figure out. But
then it seems kind of like this no true Scotsman type of fallacy in which you're the arbiter of people's aims and how they understand those aims to be. how is it that you can claim that people don't know something that you know about their life despite not having met them?
Well, it's obviously a generic claim, just like the atheist claim that there's no God is a generic claim. In your case, it would have to be specified more, and I'm not claiming to understand what was going on in your mind, but my experience with atheists is twofold, is that they have a very reductive notion of what constitutes God, let's say in the Judeo-Christian tradition, and they've often been hurt by someone who was religious or by the religious enterprise or perhaps by God himself, so to speak, and that's left them with an animus.
But I think that you have a reductive view of what atheism is. You've defined religion so broadly to include any sort of having aim in life, any sort of cultural archetypes, or having a metaphorical substrate. And atheism to you is a very specific type of like three people in the world that are these Raskolnikov type of, they want to get away with a perfect murder. It seems like you have the reductive view of what an atheist is.
Well, let's start with your claim. How do you define the God that you're rejecting? Like, what is God to you? You studied in the church, you found that unsatisfactory. How would you characterize what you rejected?
I think the average Christian believer, when they say that they're Christian and they believe, they mean some sort of God that is all-powerful, all-perfect, is somehow involved in the matters of this world, and that we look to them through wisdom and with the Logos incarnate in Christ. And it also seems like you don't believe in religion in the way that the average Christian says that they believe in religion. And there are as many gods out there as there are believers, because everybody has mutually exclusive and different views of what God is. So it seems
well,
like...
if everybody had mutually exclusive views of what God is, no one could speak to each other. The mere fact of communication presumes a commonality of assumption and definition. And it's certainly not the case that I regard any archetypal manifestation whatsoever as equally religious. So that's not a real claim. Let me give you an example. For example, there's a sub-narrative in the story of Moses where Moses is rewarded with a glimpse of God. Okay, and that's one of the ways that God is characterized in the Old Testament stories.
Yes.
Now, Moses is a faithful servant of God and a good man. At least that's the case within the confines of the story.
One possible interpretation.
It's the case within the confines of the story, obviously.
Obviously. When we look at the Bible can't precisely say anything because there are so many different exegetical and hermeneutic views of this particular book, and that everybody has everybody has disagreed historically on, it seems like, even the most benign detail about a book this big. And it seems like you can only say that the Bible says something if you first presuppose that it's univocal.
So your claim essentially is that Moses in the Old Testament plays the role of a villain or is irrelevant? Because the alternative claim is that he's good. I'm saying that we can't know,
because we can't talk to those authors.
If you are going to start with the presupposition that there's nothing I can say about any of these stories that you're not going to disagree with from the perspective that there are multiple potential competing claims, then I can't speak with you. So
we also have a short time here, so I want to get to the core of what you're arguing here, and I'd love if we could...
The core of what I'm arguing is that atheists reject God, but they don't understand what they're rejecting. So I'm trying to give you an example of what's being rejected and its complexity. Okay, so God
arguing his real claim. I don't think he even listened, and which is no longer, he was always on Reddit.
God rewards Moses with a glimpse of the divine. So this is a definition of the God that atheists are hypothetically rejecting.
A possible one.
I said I didn't say the. I said
That is possible, yes.
Okay. So despite the fact that Moses is a stellar character and he's had a long and difficult life and can withstand a lot of difficulty and travail, God puts him between two cliffs. So he can just see a crack of what's in front of him. And when God walks by, he allows him to see his back. Okay, so the implication of that story is that the divine is fundamentally unknowable. It's a pinnacle experience, and that people in their finitude have to be shielded from a comprehensive vision of the basis of reality. Well, that's not the God that's defined in that manner, right? It's not a simple personification. It's not a simple old man in the sky. It's something that in its essence is unknowable and overwhelming. And that isn't, in my experience, the God that's defined by atheists who are attempting to undermine the story. I mean, it's the same claim, for example, that you're a finite creature and that you face something that in the final analysis is unknowable, and that you have to establish a relationship with it regardless of your inability to perceive or even withstand perceiving the whole. Okay, is there a problem with that?
I mean, the problem is that when we look at, famously, when you've been asked, do you believe in God, the question becomes, what do we mean by God? And in the Bible, it's not even clear the biblical authors know what God is, because Yahweh has historically emerged from an early storm god, a deity that doesn't exhaust the category of deity, and that has changed over the Old Testament. Does God have physicality? Does God not have physicality? It seems like, yes, if you define religion to mean anybody that has an aim, anybody that looks at the unknown, anybody who wants to go from chaos to order is inherently religious, then yes. But also in the same way, I could define atheist as somebody who doesn't dogmatically believe in a religion, or somebody who doesn't regularly attend religious services or belong to a denomination. Help, especially the audience, kind of like boil this down. There was a lot of words there. That the central claim is that we exist somewhere between the finite and the infinite.
A central claim.
A central claim is that we exist somewhere between the finite and the infinite.
No, I said that we were finite and we had to establish a relationship with the infinite.
Yeah, then in that case, then we're all religious, but then I can do the same thing and define one particular element of atheism. It seems like we both have a reductive view of what the other side looks like, to the point where a conversation seems incoherent, and not just incoherent, but not in the way that the average Christian understands Christianity to be.
Do you have a problem?
Let's pause there. Sorry, you've been voted out by the majority.
Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you,
David.
David, good to see you.
Tell me everything that you know about the Polynesian deity Lono, L-O-N-O.
I don't know anything about the Polynesian deity Lono.
So you're rejecting something without knowledge of what you're rejecting.
I'm not rejecting it. No more than I'm rejecting
do you believe
anything
in Lono?
that I don't know anything about.
Do you believe in Lono? Do you believe that he is a deity that exists in the world, exists in the universe, that exists in the existence of everything? Do you believe that Lono is a
I'll answer that
being?
question once you answer my question, which is, do I reject everything that I'm ignorant of? Because that's your presupposition that undergirds your argument, and unless you can prove that that's valid, then there's no point.
My question is quite simple.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's formulated accurately.
Do you believe that Lono exists? Yes or no?